The curtain rises on a dimly lit stage. The world is watching, yet behind the glow of the spotlight, one woman is standing in the shadows of her own fears. Stefanie Powers, once known only as a girl with big dreams in Hollywood, was now facing a silence louder than any applause she had ever heard. The story begins not with her success, but with her uncertainty. She had grown up with a fire in her heart, telling herself that one day she would break through the noise of countless hopefuls. But Hollywood was cruel. For every dreamer, there were hundreds left behind, bruised by rejection. Stefanie was no stranger to rejection. She would walk into auditions with her head high, only to hear the door close softly behind her as another name was chosen. For years, she asked herself a quiet question. Was she enough? The suspense of her life wasn't about fame. It was about survival. There were nights when she sat alone in her small apartment, the sound of distant traffic filling the silence. She thought about giving up. She thought about going home. But something inside her refused to surrender. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was love for the craft, or maybe it was simply resilience stitched into her soul. Then, one day, opportunity came disguised as struggle. A casting director called her back after a failed audition, not because she was perfect, but because he saw a spark of honesty in her eyes. That small moment would change everything. Yet success did not erase pain. As her career began to rise, Stefanie found herself balancing between glamour and loneliness. The world saw the shining actress, but few saw the woman who carried silent burdens. She was caring for her mother, fighting her own doubts, and learning that fame did not shield the heart from sorrow. Through all of this, she discovered something deeper: kindness. Fame gave her a platform, but life gave her lessons. She began to see how fragile people were, how even the brightest stars could hide the darkest struggles. Her turning point came during a charity event. She had been invited as a guest, but what she witnessed transformed her. A group of children, sick yet smiling, reached for her hand as if she was a symbol of hope. In that moment, she realized her life was not just about roles or scripts. It was about meaning. And so, Stefanie chose to step beyond the camera. She became an activist, dedicating herself to causes close to her heart. But this choice came with sacrifice. Hollywood is quick to forget those who do not chase its lights. And slowly, the calls began to fade. The suspense grew again. Would she be remembered, or would she vanish like so many before her? Her story was no longer just about ambition. It was about respect, resilience, family, and love. It was about finding dignity not in applause, but in service. And as part one closes, we see her walking out of the studio gates late at night, the city glowing around her. In her hand is not a script, but a letter from a child whose life she touched. The words are simple, shaky, written in crayon. Thank you for being kind. Stefanie holds the letter to her chest, tears filling her eyes. For the first time, she feels something stronger than fame. She feels purpose. Time passed, and Stefanie learned to live in a rhythm that no longer depended on applause. She had once measured her worth in headlines and roles, but now she measured it in moments. Moments of kindness, moments of connection, moments where she chose love over recognition. Still, the world of Hollywood had not forgotten her completely. Invitations arrived, offers appeared, sometimes roles written just for her. But she was different now. She no longer chased what once seemed so urgent. She accepted only what felt honest, what aligned with who she had become. One evening, she was invited to an event honoring artists who had contributed not just to film, but to humanity. She hesitated at first. She feared the old stage lights, feared the memories they carried. But something in her heart told her this was not about fame. It was about closure. When she walked into the grand hall, whispers followed. Many remembered her beauty, her elegance, her presence. But when she stepped onto the stage, silence filled the room. She did not speak of her awards or her career. Instead, she spoke of resilience, of loss, of the children who taught her the meaning of courage. She told them about nights of loneliness, about grief that nearly broke her, about finding strength not in standing alone but in standing beside others. Her voice shook at times, but it was steady with truth. By the time she finished, there were tears in the audience. She had not given them glamour. She had given them honesty. And then came the moment that defined her legacy. After the event, a young actress approached her, nervous, holding back tears. She confessed that she too was struggling with rejection, with loneliness, with the fear that she was not enough. She asked Stefanie, "How did you keep going?" Stefanie smiled gently, touched her hand, and said, "Because every no taught me something about myself. Because even when the world seemed not to see me, I decided to see others. And when I gave kindness, I found strength." Those words would stay with the young actress for the rest of her life. Stefanie walked out of the hall that night into the cool air of the city. The lights sparkled, but she no longer needed them to feel alive. She had lived through ambition, through loss, through silence, and through kindness. Her story was no longer just about survival. It was about transformation. In the end, she understood that fame fades, but love remains. Applause dies down, but kindness echoes. And while her name would forever be tied to her films, her true legacy lived quietly in the hearts she touched, in the children she comforted, in the lives she changed. The final image is not of her on a red carpet, but of her sitting quietly beside a hospital bed, holding a child's hand. No cameras, no audience, no applause. Only humanity. And as the child smiles up at her, Stefanie whispers softly, almost to herself, "This is enough."